Japan, 2010. Itaru Sasaki was grieving his cousin who had died of cancer. Amid his heart-wrenching grief, he decided to purchase an old-fashioned phone booth and set it up in his garden. He installed a rotary phone, but no wiring. Here, Itaru would call his cousin and talk to him, sometimes for hours. And he began to feel comfort and connection, even some healing. Itaru called this phone booth the wind phone because he felt that the wind was carrying his words to his cousin. The following year, a 9.1 magnitude earthquake, some of you might remember that, in 2011, caused a tsunami that obliterated the coast of Japan. So many were in sudden, terrible grief. Itaru relocated his phone booth to a windy hill overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And he welcomed mourners to visit it to make calls to their lost friends and relatives. The phone of the wind, as it is now called, is still there 14 years later, and described as, quote, a shrine which is mindfully cared for to help connect people to their loved ones on the other side. It has been called one of the world's most powerful resilience sites. Grievers travel from around the world to call their loved ones in spirit, to say the things they didn't get a chance to say while the person was living. It is a place that offers the peace and solitude grievers need to work through their pain. These words come from the website mywindphone.com, and by clicking on the Locate tab, you will find a wind phone map to find the wind phone near you. Or you can click on the Create tab, which walks you through the design, the location considerations, and signage to plant a wind phone in your own community. There are to date 239 wind phones in the US alone, 104 internationally, and apparently 15 are coming soon, according to the website yesterday. And I know what you're thinking, are there any in Massachusetts? And the answer is yes. Dover, Hampton, and Provincetown have wind phones, and 2 are coming soon to Duxbury and Somerset. Are you moved by this? Me too. There's a line in the movie American Beauty, which is a tough and painful film that I only saw once, but it was imprinted on me ever since I went to see it in 1999. A high school-aged boy in the film, whose life is horrendous, says, "Sometimes there's so much beauty in the world, I feel like I can't take it. Like my heart is just going to cave in." That's how I feel about those wind phones. So much beauty in the world that you almost can't take it. I recently ran across a bit of wisdom from the great theologian and German activist in the 1940s, note the time, in Germany in the 1940s, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who wrote, We pray for the big things and forget to give thanks for the ordinary, small, and yet really not small gifts. We strive, he says, for the grand spiritual adventure which we haven't had, and neglect the many gifts from God that we do have. Bonhoeffer urges us to be satisfied with the small measure of spiritual knowledge, experience, and love that has been given to us. This is why I sense poets like Rosemary Watola Traumer, who wrote the words to the poem Fortunate that Jalais read, are who we tend to turn to when we need help remembering about the tiny, beautiful things that make our hearts feel like, can I even take it? Mary Oliver is also an expert at finding words to describe the tiny, beautiful things, right? This past week, at one point, I said out loud, "Oh God, it all feels so big." All that we each are carrying in our lives, the state of the world. And we tend to think, I do at least, I tend to think and speak in these grand, sweeping ways, good ways. End world hunger, dismantle systems of oppression, save the planet. And let us all, as people of faith, engage in the ways we can with these big, big issues of our time. And we must also not discount the ordinary, small, and yet really not small at all, beautiful things. The proximate, the acts of radical, random, as David said, kindness and profound love that we can witness, give, and receive right now. It really is true, we don't have to wait. It can happen and is happening right now, and I see it among you all the time. How lovely to think that no one need wait a moment. We can start now. Start slowly changing the world. How lovely that everyone, great and small, can make their contribution toward introducing justice straight away. And you can always, always give something, even if it is only kindness. Those are not my words. Those are the words of Anne Frank, written around the age of 14, in hiding. She also wrote that she makes it her practice of not always thinking of all the misery, but thinking of the beauty that still remains. I mean, isn't this what we're all fighting for? The beauty and kindness and good that still remains? I am trying to be this person, and I know you are too. A person who has a personal, daily return again and again, because I flit away from it, relationship with awe. I am trying. Awe at the tiny, beautiful things that the world is totally soaked through with, that it is almost hard to take. People doing things for each other that take the breath out of your body. Stopping for pedestrians, helping strangers, smiling at children playing or dogs passing, making safe can openers their passionate and urgent act of love and kindness, making lanterns and lighting each one for a Christmas Eve service, singing someone a song at their bedside in the final days of their life, dropping a handwritten card in the mail, carefully placing a lost teddy bear on a fire hydrant with the hopes of being found. There has been one on my street where the parsonage is for 3.5 years, and it brings tears to my eyes every time I pass it. Will it ever be found? I am also trying to be a person who believes that me, just as I am today, am playing an important part in all of this beauty. It's so easy to think that we can't or aren't. Trying to see that one small act of kindness, mercy, love offered to the earth, offered to my fellows, and yes, to myself every day, that this can be my contribution to something big and needed. If we cease to look for kindness, mercy, beauty, love in the world and in ourselves, to know them as being for us and for us to carry forward, or if we cease to think they matter or even exist at all, then we are not living the lives that we were intended to live. Nor are we living in reality, quite frankly. And please know that I am not asking you to blot out the sufferings of the world or minimize whatever your body and mind and soul is living with or living through right now. I know for some of you, anxiety or depression or addiction or physical or emotional pain or deep grief are constant shadows that go with you everywhere. And you wish it was as easy as talking into a wind phone or noticing the buds on a tree or a stuffed animal tied to a fire hydrant to make it all stop. My dear friends, there is nothing wrong with you if this is what you are carrying or struggling with right now. And I hope you hear that. And there's nothing wrong with you if you are struggling to simply get through your day in one piece. Honestly, and I've thought a lot about this, simply giving yourself permission to be yourself as you are, a human with a pulse, and maybe shattered right now, is the tiny, beautiful thing. Our theme this month is inclusion. And this can often be seen as one of those big things. We all want it, to be a part of it. And this can often feel too big. Trying for a sliver of inward-facing mercy is also an act of inclusion. The only ask I have of you, my dear friends, is that at some point you share this with someone, or many someones. The experience of maybe shatteredness, it makes you an excellent host to those who arrive in your sphere shattered and feeling alone. Maybe you will offer mercy to them, or tell them about how you are trying for it yourself, or simply look into their eyes and say, "Me too. Me too."